Hey everyone, Amtrak Guy 365 here. On this edition of Engines of Amtrak, I'll be taking a look at the EMD F59PHI, something I originally wasn't going to cover, but after many requests to do it, and my own change of mind, let's get right into it. For years now, the F59PHI has been a staple of Amtrak's system on the West Coast. Not only that, but they found busy work on several other passenger railroads across the United States and Canada. Their iconic wedge shape and three-window design give them a unique identity of their own. However though, they didn't just appear out of nowhere with no basis whatsoever. There's a bit of backstory. So, let's travel back to the year 1988. The Commuter Railroad Government of Ontario Transit, better known as GO Transit, had been using a selection of aging diesel locomotives on their commuter services, those of which were the GP40TC, F40PH, and the FP7 dating back to the early 1950s. After GO officials argued a strong case for a 3,000 horsepower passenger locomotive powered by a 12-cylinder 710 G3 engine, that of which had an independent HEP engine generator set housed in a full cowl car body with a CN-style comfort cab. With that said, the F59PH was rolled out of the London, Ontario shops in May of 1988. Its technical design took influence from EMD's 1985 freight diesel, the GP59. Essentially, the F59PH was a GP59 with an HEP generator, full-width cowl body, and a three-window Canadian comfort cab. It worked out fairly well for GO Transit, with a handful of locomotives remaining in service today as of 2020. In 2010, 4 units were sold to the North Carolina Department of Transportation for use on the jointly Amtrak and NC-DOT-operated Piedmont service, where they remain today. Fast forward a couple years after GO debuted the F59PH to 1990 in California. The state had initiated a plan to provide $3 billion towards the state's transportation department, Caltrans. A large sum of this money went to rail transportation. Part of this plan included expanded state funding Amtrak services featuring new locomotives. Before this plan, Amtrak's San Joaquin and Capital trains had been using standard Amtrak equipment like F40PHs, Dash 8s, Amfleets, and Horizons, and was merely branded as Amtrak California based on the name alone. This brand, which was used by Caltrans, didn't have an identity of its own either, as it used standard Amtrak colors. While looking for a new locomotive, Amtrak wasn't too impressed by the F59PH initially due to its lack of streamlining, which to them would easily affect fuel consumption, speed, and modernity. With that said though, Amtrak decided to take on the F59PH in a different way, through streamlining that is. EMD and Amtrak worked together to create the F59PHI in 1994. With technical specs in mind, the F stands for full-width cowl body, 59 denoting the series number, P for having passenger gearing, H for being equipped with a head-end power, and I standing for having an isolated or quiet cab. The unit is rated for a top speed of 110 miles an hour, being powered by an EMD 12-cylinder 710G engine producing 3,000 horsepower. It weighs in at 270,000 pounds and has a length of 58 feet 7 inches, width of 10 feet 7 inches, and a height of 15 feet 7 inches. Compared to the F59PH, the new units have a more rounded roof compared to its predecessor, along with having streamlined skirting around the fuel tank to make it much more aerodynamic. The nose and cab, which are the most notable differences, are rounded out and the nose is detachable, being made of fiberglass. This was to make derailment repairs much easier and protect the crew. Amtrak's F59PHIs come equipped with a Nathan K5LA air horn. Here's a few samples. The PHI's technical concept would soon be adapted for the 5 feet 3 inch gauge 201 class locomotive used in Ireland. Back in the US, the very first F59PHI, CDTX number 2001, went into service for Amtrak California on September 26, 1994. 8 other locomotives would subsequently go into service. One of the most notable differences for these units was their color scheme. Amtrak, to distinguish the state-funded Amtrak California, decked the units out in navy blue, orange, yellow, and black. This was a sharp departure from Amtrak's current scheme at the time, being Phase 4. The F59PHI was notable in the sense of being the first locomotive to meet California's strict emission standards as well. The next year, in 1995, Amtrak California received their new bi-level commuter-based passenger cars known as California cars in colors to match the new brand identity. 2 years later, in 1998, Amtrak received 16 more F59PHIs, 5 for the newly branded Amtrak Cascade service, and 11 for the all-new Pacific Surfliner brand. Both orders would go into service that same year. NC would acquire 2 PHIs in 1998 as well. At first, Amtrak's new order F59PHIs outside of the Cascade service that were colored using Amtrak's deep blue, platinum mist, white, and black colors were placed on the San Diegan. This color change was derived from a 1998 order of bi-level passenger cars for use on the train. On June 1, 2000, Amtrak renamed the train to the Pacific Surfliner running between San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Luis Obispo, with the new Surfliner passenger cars going into service that year. However, the following year in 2001, EMD delisted the F59PHI from their catalog as it was no longer able to meet Tier 1 emission standards set by the EPA. The total number of units built ceased at 83. Amtrak had a total of 36 units. Numbers 450 to 465 were painted for the Pacific Surfliner, with 465 being moved to the Cascade service in 2001, 465 to 470 for the Cascade service, and 2001 to 2015 for Amtrak California. Some of Caltrans's F59s even have names given to them by the crews. In following years, the locomotive made its mark on the west coast of America and Canada, shuttling passengers across scenic and urban areas alike. 2009, though, saw Caltrans's F59PHIs being repowered with a 710 Eco engine to meet Tier 2 emission standards. But as with all locomotives, there comes a time to be replaced. In May 2017, Siemens' then brand new SC44 Charger was tested on the Capital Corridor and San Joaquin trains. Following these tests up, the Charger was placed into revenue service on the Cascades and Caltrans's routes later that year. On the Pacific Surfliner, revenue Charger service began in late 2018. But what exactly happened to the F59PHIs? Amtrak's units found a second career in America's rail capital, Chicago, Illinois. Between October and December 2018, Commuter Railroad Metra acquired 21 ex-Amtrak units, a mixture of which were from the Surfliner and Cascades routes. These would be renumbered to 73 to 93 and painted in a temporary scheme. In August 2019, Metra began painting their units into their lightning bolt scheme. With that said, Metra's Amtrak units now work alongside ex-Go Transit F59PHs. As for Amtrak California or Caltrans's units, along with NC, they remain in regular service on their respective services as of June 2020. Amtrak has managed to hold on to a handful of their units, even after 26 years in service. The PHIs have become a staple and icon of Pacific Coast Amtrak train travel, and to this day, they still continue to leave their mark in the history book of Amtrak, the National Railroad Passenger Corporation. Thanks for watching this episode of Engines of Amtrak. I'm glad I was able to get the community involved with this episode featuring many of your own photos and videos, so I'm very appreciative for all the help there. Anyway, stay tuned for next time when I rediscuss the GE P30CH. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you again for watching.